Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. We have a question that came in for the webinar that DJ and I did, and so many came in that we couldn't answer them all there, so I'm trying to use them in some of these daily, because so many of them are really good questions. And we get this one from Robert Christador, and Robert says, "Hi, and I'm sure many others learn best by imitation." That's part of what we talk about, imagining things, getting the pictures into your mind and then repeating the pictures, and seeing a player that is swinging the way you want to swing, and just watch what he does and try to imitate him. So from there he goes on and says, "I've always played at my highest level when I played with better players because their good habits, setup, rhythm, tempo, course management were on display for 4 hours. Now I try to watch the best players in the world on display weekly on the PGA Tour. My question is, besides DJ, which players that are generally in contention and are getting airtime," Jason Day comes to mind, "exemplify some of all the elements of the upright swing that you teach? Besides naming them, maybe you could describe what they do correctly that we could learn from." You know, I keep looking up there and people keep asking me who swings like I teach, and realistically, outside of DJ, there's really not too many on the PGA Tour that I could say would be pretty close to correct on both sides of the ball. That's the backswing to the forward swing. I'm beginning to see a lot more of the ladies starting to get a little bit more vertical on both sides of the ball. I was just watching a ladies tournament today, and I mean, Christy Kerr's gotten much more vertical. They showed a thing of Annika Sorenstam. We all know she was up there and finished there, and they both finished fairly square to the target. And I've noticed a couple other ones that appear to be changing, because I'm not seeing the swings they had a couple years ago. But in the end, if you really want to see vertical players, go watch the Champions Tour. I mean, those guys haven't changed. I mean, if you go to PGA Tour events, you see that the range on, especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and if it's a really big tournament like a major or the FedEx, the for the FedEx Cup, you see a lot of the teachers will be there almost the whole week, and you see them, just the players are with their teachers out there in the range and the putting greens, whatever. But you go to Champions Tour, I've only been to a couple of them, but there's not many teachers, if any, out there, because those guys have got the same old swing they've had for 40 or 50 years, and they're all pretty much darn vertical, and they're pretty much closer to vertical on both sides of the ball. And heck, one of the best examples, I think, without a doubt, standing it up in the backswing and finishing vertical, is Craig Stadler. I mean, you look at him, and I mean, we all know that he's a little on the chubby side, so to speak, but yet he stands that club straight up in the backswing right there and finishes it right up here every time. And I think I could almost comfortably say, without a doubt, just about 90% of the senior tour is pretty good on both sides. But to get back and answer the question, I think the point is that I'm starting to see more players getting a little more vertical in the backswing. There still very few of them will be at 12 o'clock. They might be about 11, but that's a whole lot better than about 10 o'clock and deep. So one of the keys of swinging vertical is your hands are going up more, they're going less around you. So that's going to cut down the turn, which is going to keep them closer to their aiming line and swing through. But I've seen there are a number of them out there that are getting quite vertical in the backswing, getting that club up at least 11, maybe even a little higher. We got a couple that are swinging quite the parallel on the top, and conversely staying more vertical, very much closer to the old swing, pre-rotational swing, where we had the real high hands on this side and then the real high hands square to the finish on this side. There's a couple going back that way, but for the most part, the thing that I see that even if they're vertical on this side, there's almost nobody. And you've heard me say it here. Even I've been working on DJ to get that technical excellence of tightening him up to his ear, to come in closer to the ear. You've heard me talk about that when I teach, I wear these big Panama type hats with at least 3.5, 4-inch brims on them to keep the sun off my face. You know, 40 years of standing out there teaching is, I got to keep my face extra protected, and that started ruining my swing, because with those big wide brims, you get that brim over here, and the club comes over, and you come up, I keep hitting the thing, and I'm always doing what? Chasing my hat. So I found that I started getting, because of that brim, I was getting a little wide. And so now what I do is, if I'm playing with the big hats, I take them off, put them on the ground, hit my shot, then reach down and pick it up. And so that's the big key. And I really think that in the end, that big key of the better finish, the T finish, where you come right on up and your hands almost touch your ear. Even to this day, when I hit really, really good shots, I can my club will just barely brush. As I said, a lot of times I swing it on my hat on now. I can feel the club coming up. My hands are so close, the shaft brushes my ear. If years ago when I wore visors and they had a clip over here, every time I'd come up, you could hear that clip. You could hear that little click off the shaft hitting that clip, that clip down on that for adjusting the size of the visor. That's how close to finish, and that's what I don't see. I mean, the one that really just makes me want to gouge my eyes out is I see these swings where they come in and they're all like this. There's so many of them like this. They're finishing over there. They're getting so wide they just collapse back. And in many cases, you can see what that does. I can get to a good finish, but I can't stay there because when the arms collapse down, I fall back. And instead of just up and over, just like throwing a sack right over your shoulder. And that's where you want to finish. And so that's what I see. I'm enthused. I'm happy to see more vertical in the back, but I'm not seeing in a forward swing. And the only thing I'm going to close this session up with is, in the end, if you could only have half the swing really good, and in terms of the perfect position at the top, where's the best one to be at? The finish. Why? Because you don't hit the ball with your backswing. You hit it with the forward swing, and the whole forward swing will be better. Ultimately, swinging and finishing to the correct place, up by your ear, right here. And when you lock that point in, there's only one smooth path you can ever take to get there. You can't come wide and pull it back. It doesn't work. So that keeps the club in your hands and arms in front of your body. Come on up, recoil and relax with the club pointing at the target, square to the target. And you're going to find out that focusing on the finish is the way to start hitting the ball more solid and straight. It'll get easier to get there when you get your backswing nice and vertical too, the limited 3/4 turn backswing. But the finish in the end will do it. Okay, so that's it for the search for today on commenting about what I'm seeing in golf today, and I'll be talking to you all again soon.